Alrighty then, the players are now back. Demi throwing a little bit of shade here. Zeph is a bully. Not sure where that came from.
It's just a general statement, I guess.
Just needed to make that shown in the world.
Yeah, you just had to say it. I don't know why.
The public needed to know. And speaking of needed to know, you need to know that these two players are going to be facing in a best of 5 for the first time in 2020. And one of them here on the top right hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top right hand corner of Eternal Empire, L-E-E-L-E-Ile. He is La Shark himself, gonna be representing Downfall Gaming, coming all the way in a jewel that is known as India. Will he make his 4th consecutive ESL Dare Cup, or is he gonna not make the 4th consecutive Dare Cup? It's Demi!
Well said, Yaku. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Eternal Empire LE, we have the Australian Protoss player representing Legacy Esports. It is Probe.
Now, ZVP.
I'm excited. I'm ready. This is the first ZVP of the night, and I feel like for whatever reason, we cast a lot of it on this channel. Even for this region, like every chance we get, especially in GPOs, you know, we followed Pez pretty often, and we always see Pez versus Demi, Miyamika, Gogo Joey. But yeah, I'm curious to see how Probe plays this out, since we see a little bit less of him on this channel.
Yeah, definitely. He he was traumatized of GPO after having to unfortunately face Beastork that one time, so.
Yeah, I mean, he has been dubbed the hype killer, Beastork, taking out the likes of Probe and Risky, and
later Azure.
Later Azure, and then just never returning.
Oof. He really is the SOS of Hong Kong, isn't he? In many ways.
In many ways. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how this plays out, as we do see Probe not going for a Twilight Council opener, instead going for that
Stargate. Yeah, taking a page off of his boss, known as Stats.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, Stats, he does often go one or the other, but he does favor that Stargate play. So yeah, you know, making sure he doesn't get fired.
Twilight Council opening is way too mainstream for him.
Exactly. Now the real question is, will he play just like Nick Fury himself and go triple Oracle?
I don't think we've ever seen Probe go for a triple Oracle. A Phoenix is coming out first. That does not mean he's not going to make Oracles. If he gets a second Phoenix, though, that is going to be confirmation that Probe will be going for Mass Phoenix, and at most just making one.
I was about to say, we have seen Probe go double Stargate before in this matchup. On a map like Eternal Empire, like, it could work as well, because it's a larger map, so you can go double Stargate and then transition into like carriers eventually. So it is something that we could see, but we do see the Oracle coming out.
Indeed we do. I think we actually have seen a transition to carriers from Probe. Specifically on this map. Yeah.
Specifically against Demi, I think, as well.
Funny how that all lines up.
Yeah, and there we go, he's doing it!
Second Stargate being plopped right down. It's just going to be that single Oracle for the time being. It's just going to be used for, ideally, harassment, but if you can't get that, then it's all good. A couple of Revelations and potentially Stasis Wards never hurt no one.
Yeah,
well,
it's weird that...
player, but...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Probe did this in the last in ESL Open Cup 15, where we did follow Demi go through the gauntlets and make it to, I think, the semis at least. But yeah. I mean, we did cast it on this channel. I do think Demi ended up coming out on top. But we'll see if Probe has learned anything from that and if he can change that outcome.
You see, when we all thought that Probe was studying in uni, he was actually studying how to face Demi. That's what he went to the professors for.
Exactly. He was studying the ways of the shark, and we'll see what he learned from his studies and how he's able to approach this.
I told you marine biology would be useful.
There's a lot of layers to what you just said, because I know you did take marine biology. I recall, this is not the first time you've brought this up. God damn
but the Phoenixes are starting to move out. It's a lot of potential drone damage that can be done. 5 potential Phoenixes can fire on one drone, so that's actually way more than enough to one-shot, if I'm not wrong.
It's important to note that this entire time this has gone unscattered. Demi, he has not spotted the double Stargate. He does not know that there are this many Phoenixes, and they are here. They are at the third base of Demi.
He's going for these morphing in Overlords. Gonna be going for a little bit of drone damage. That's a lot of anti-air, and so Probe just backs on out. Nicely done, but he's gonna be transitioning into a double robo facility.
Oh.
Or
interesting.
Warp prisms?
look, he's not playing just like stats, okay? He's gonna have 3 warp prisms out on the map, okay? At least I hope not. But I do like this because he committed a lot to these Phoenixes and he does get map control because of them. I say that, but Demi, he does not care. He's sending all of his things across the map, as well as the roaches.
There is a little bit of energy on top of this Oracle, though. Not quite in position to throw it on a Stasis Ward just yet, but that Pulsar Beam is definitely going to help on this defense. There are a couple of sentries here with force fields. Probe now going to get supply blocked, which is a little bit of a bother.
Yeah, and that means that these 2 rovers, like only 2 mortals, are going to be coming out, and they're not here right now for the defense as the roaches are here. Ooh, recall being used for the Phoenixes to come back home.
And they're actually going to be helping out quite a bit. The roaches can take a couple of these Phoenix shots, but the important thing is they're being taken out of the fight.
Exactly, and Demi, he saw those 2 immortals. He was trying to jump on top of them, but they managed to get behind the wall at the natural. And Demi, he does back off, but he will kill this third base.
Yeah, that's more than enough damage, if I do say so. Demi has got to be satisfied with that. So Probe, he's still alive, but considering just how he teched into, having a delay or denial on that third base is gonna just hurt him so much in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. As we saw, Probe, his 2 immortals were exposed there for a minute, and if they got surrounded by those things, it would have been devastating for Probe. But he did manage to save them in the end. It was a really nice recall as well with those Phoenixes, so he was able to hold on. But yeah, he did lose that third base. We'll see, though, how much damage he can get done across the map.
And not a whole lot is going to be answer here. A lot of anti-air, defensive anti-air. The Lings are back and looking to get damage done. The Oracle doesn't have quite as much energy as it had earlier. Sentries are going to be saving the life of that third base, so...
Exactly, those force fields were amazing, removing the surface area on that third base. So yeah, Demi was forced to pull back. He wasn't able to get the kill. Meanwhile, Demi, he did throw down a Spire, and it wasn't for Mutas. I was a little bit concerned that he was going to go Mutas. It was for Corruptors.
Yeah, definitely what you want against these Phoenixes. They do have a bonus damage against biological units, but honestly their actual damage output is low enough that a high health, high armored unit like the Corruptor is going to be tanking a lot.
Yeah, definitely. The Corruptors are going to help a lot against these Phoenixes. The thing is, like, after they do deal with the Phoenixes, I hope that Demi is able to find some kind of damage with them and able to utilize them in some way, whether it's for harass, whether it's for, I don't know, transitioning into Broodlords. That's always the tricky thing about going into Corruptors.
But it does give you a couple of options, so, I mean, sure, as you're saying, you're going to have to make use of them in one way or another.
Oh, and we could see that come into play here now as he's going right into the natural. Maybe trying to focus down the Nexus.
Time on Caustic Spray. The Caustic Spray is starting to go down. I do not see this Nexus living for too long. There's just not enough on the ground or in the sky that can really deny this.
Phoenixes are across the map killing drones instead.
Now, is this going to be enough damage for Probe to be able to make up for that loss? I'm doubtful.
Yeah, 11 drones went down, but at the cost of a Nexus. So really well done there by Demi. Just, as I said, utilizing those Corruptors, even just, you know, chilling here as well. Maybe hoping to find some stray units. Hoping to find another like key structure to focus down, whether it's the Stargates or the Templar Archives even. Like, yeah, he's like a kid in a candy store right now.
But eventually they all go for that big block of chocolate. Nexus is going to be going down. These Phoenixes just cannot kill these Corruptors fast enough. And these Corruptors are going to be turning around trying to deal with the Phoenixes.
They don't even care. They're just flying away. They're not even bothered. But they are bothered by those Archons. They are pushed away. But just like that, Demi killed 2 Nexuses.
And now he is doubling the income right now of Probe. Probe really struggling right now. He has a lot of workers to his name. He just cannot make use of them.
Exactly, and now Probe, he's a little bit all in, you know, he only has 1 base economy and he's pushing out across the map. He does have a decent, like, Immortal and Archon count, like, his ground army is pretty strong. We'll see if Demi is able to muster up enough to deal with this, and it looks like, oh god, that's a lot of Ling Bane, Roach Ravager.
It is very much a lot, but let's take a look at the sentries right now for Probe. He has 3 almost full energy force sentries here. That's going to be a lot of force fields.
Yeah, it definitely will. It's going to be a little bit awkward as the Archons of Probe will kill his own force fields if he's not too careful, so he does have to be careful how he maneuvers his army, and the Banelings are coming in.
Archons. Banelings do manage to come in. Decent use of force fields there. I think most of the Banelings have been taken out, but the Archons are starting to go down, and once this Warp Prism goes, I do not see Probe staying in this fight.
We'll see, as the Warp Prism did go down, so this is all that Probe has, and eventually all the Phoenixes will go down as well. But the main army of Probe was able to, for the most part, crush what Demi had on the ground, but now there's not too much protecting those Immortals and those Archons. Like, they are just looking a little bit vulnerable at the moment.
Well, vulnerable is putting it a bit lightly.
Yeah, and I do like this. Probe, he doesn't press the issue, like he's returning back home. And what's important is that Probe is able to keep the majority of his high-tech units alive. Like, he didn't really lose too many Immortals or Archons. Just checking the units lost, he actually didn't lose any Immortals. So really nicely done there, keeping the majority of them alive, keeping all of them alive.
Yeah, he might be starting to catch up here. He does have his 4 bases, but here come the Corruptors once again. Demi really understanding that Probe, he does not have any anti-air to his name.
Jesus Christ, and just like that, Demi gets another Nexus snipe. Again, the Phoenixes were just not in position. There were a couple of Stalkers, but it just wasn't enough anti-air. Now Demi, he's here almost maxed out outside the 4th base of Probe.
Alright, we'll see if Probe is going to be able to hold this. He does have a Warp Prism, so it's going to be a little bit awkward. He cannot really juggle these units or micro them as well as he would perhaps like. And the battles are starting to really rain down. This is looking unstoppable from Demi.
Yeah, he does get pushed away as the buffer for the Ravagers were completely gone. If he kept fighting, he would have lost all of his Ravagers. But again, like, Demi, he has the economy to just trade and just keep trading. Probe, he's hurting as he just keeps losing these Nexuses. I do like what Probe is doing though. Like, he's throwing down a lot of stasis wards. He's like taking 2 Nexuses at once, which is what he needs to do. But Demi, is he going to get another one?
Back. There's not a lot of Phoenixes.
Oh god.
There are a couple of Stalkers here though, and gonna be able to make use of these shield batteries as much as he can.
Yeah. Oh, thank god.
Okay.
So see, this is where, like, so we thought that Demi was going for Corruptors to deal with the Phoenixes. They were solely to snipe Nexuses. that was his answer.
And it's a pretty good answer. Massive stasis ward being triggered right here. I think Probe has just enough that he needs to defend. And honestly, if he can take this engagement, he could just turn this game around. The Banelings starting to crash in.
Ooh, the nice storms. He's able to destroy most of the Ravagers, and the Banelings are about to come out of their stasis, but they're gonna crash into the. Okay, never mind. I thought they were gonna go for the Zealots.
No, instead they go for a massive amount of probes here. Probe, it used to be where we used to be in a point where Probe had a lot of workers but not a lot of bases. We've almost turned that around.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, Probe, he's been holding well. Like, there's a reason why we call him an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Not quite the Shield of Ire of stats, but he is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, he is up there. He is known for his defense. And we see that here now. Like, even though he's been hurting so much, Demi just can't break him. But can Probe keep it up? You know, like, he's been weathering the storm for quite some time. Can he continue to do so as Demi? He's just taking more bases. He's maxing out again, and he's getting ready for another big push.
I love the positioning of Stasis Ward.
Yeah, oh my god, it can be so good. Yeah.
It can be. It's going to rely a lot on whether or not he realizes that, and that was not quite what Probe needed there. But going to be able to make use of the of the storms as well as the force fields.
Yeah.
And chases them away once again. Kind of forcing a bit of a choke point here.
Yeah, Demi, he's trying to like approach into this position, and the Banelings are running in, but they crash into Archons, and decent probe damage, but the main army of Demi, it's getting pushed back.
Push back again. These storms are really keeping Probe alive right now, and really being a thorn inside of Demi.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, finally, I love this. Demi is finally switching his tech. I was worried that if he kept going with the same army composition, then I don't think Demi eventually would just keep trading inefficiently and Probe would get back into this. But Demi, he is going for the Mutalist switch.
Yeah, I am 100% with you there. If it was... We are actually starting to get to the point where Demi's trading inefficiently and losing perhaps a bit more than he should. But now with the Mutalist switch, I think it should just about be shutting Probe down. He doesn't have a lot of Archons here.
Yeah, the important part is that...
That takes out most of the High Templar of Probe, and again, that was what was keeping him in this game.
Exactly, like that was an expensive loss right there. That was a huge loss, losing all of those High Templar. I'm not too sure how many went down, but enough to make a big impact. And now Probe, I don't think he should be here. I think he needs to go back home and try and defend. And again, the Mutalists are such a good play because sure, Probe started with Mass Phoenixes, but now he barely has any. Like the Mutalists, they can deal a lot of damage.
For now, they can.
For now, as we do see Fleet Beacon is on the way. Probe wants to get into that end game Skytoss army. Will he get there though? As again, the Mutalists, they have yet to show themselves, yet to reveal themselves. As there's a lot of Mutalists here, there's not enough Archons to deal with this. He could just jump on top of the Immortals. Or
he could just jump on top of this War Prism! The War Prism lives.
Doesn't even care. Doesn't even care. He's going for blood. He was going right for the main bases.
And Probe kind of being picked apart here. You can kind of see him sort of dancing his army. He doesn't know where he needs to be, or he's uncertain where he needs to be. Delays on the +3 weapons as well. That is huge.
There are just so many Mutalists getting on top of the production. Ooh, unpowering everything here in the main base as well. And there are just so many Mutalists that the Archons, Demi doesn't even care. He could just kill the main army of Probe with just Mutalists.
Yeah, the Mutalists are now down into the oranges and the yellows, but not dead, and that is the important part. Good storm, though.
Storms. Yeah. Storms are exactly what Demi needs to try and deal with this, and and Probe does push Demi back.
Yeah, once again. This Probe, he just will not die at all so far in this game. He is microing his heart out to the best of his ability.
Exactly. He's just focusing solely on that defense. Behind all of this, Probe was able to expand. He has gotten this southern base, so he is on 5 bases, which is just what he wants. Again, throwing down 3 Stargates at the same time, so looking to get into those carriers, into those Tempests, into those motherships. And once he gets there, honestly, like, he can actually start, like, fighting back.
I think that may just be, how this goes, or I think that may just be, Probe's only shot here. We're going to see how he utilizes that. Making a lot of Phoenixes, as he does still have to worry about those Mutalists in the sky.
Ooh, yeah, it does lose a couple more Phoenixes. Meanwhile, big Baneling run by 20 Probes go down, even more at the end. And the Roach Ravager are pushing on forward as well, looking to kill that Nexus. Meanwhile, Probe, his army's in the middle of the map.
It is, and it's trying to go for some base trades coming up here, but I'm not sure if this is the right call.
Yeah, this is exactly what Demi wanted. Like, Probe, his initial plan was to tech into that endgame Skytoss army, but he's not going to get there. He's being forced into a base trade, and this, I do believe, is going to favor Demi.
Wow, this was... I'm scratching my head a little bit here, Light, eh? I kind of thought that turtling up with those 5 bases to that late game army could have just been what wins Probe the game, but yeah, now... I guess maybe he was... I guess maybe he just thought there were too many Mutas in the sky.
Yeah, it's possible that the amount of Mutalisks like just turned him off from the idea of trying to defend all of that, and instead going for that base trade. Demi, the Mutalisks are dealing a lot of damage on the other side of the map. The problem that I have is that I feel like at some point Demi and all these Mutalisks, they can deal with the main army of Probe. In saying that, he does have a lot of energy for Storm.
He very much does. And Mutalisks, they don't really have a lot of range to them. They do have to stand still if they're going to be firing.
Yeah, definitely, and it looks like Demi's main base is going to be going down. Meanwhile, Demi, he's getting on top of like all the new bases of Probe. It does look like all of the Phoenixes for Probe went down as well. So again, like Probe, he's going to have to rely on those Storms. But
good game, well played. He realizes that even if he takes out the tech, Demi just is way too much. And so game number 1, going to be going to Demi. Remember how we say that Eternal Empire is a defensive map? Or how in Eternal Empire it's easy to defend your bases from harass? I think Demi found a solution.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like Probe was doing a decent job. Like he defending for as long as he did after taking so much damage. But yeah, eventually Demi did break him and force Probe to just push out across the map. Yeah, just GG, well played.
Yeah, just kind of avoiding all the downsides that Eternal Empire kind of has.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I do want to give a quick shout out. Oh, hold on.
Yes.
Just making sure that we end up getting game hearts set up in the lobby.
It's all good.
Never mind.
It's all good.
All right, and also I did want to give a shout out, by the way. We did get a subscriber during that game. Thank you so much, Last Hope 88. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll be do very much appreciate that. Expect some replays in the mail. And speaking of expect, we are now here on the Death Aura LE. The LE stands for Lava Eruption. In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in this bottom left, right-hand corner, we have Redzug, our 5 or 6 week consecutive finalist. He is coming down from the land of India. Gonna be representing Downfall Gaming, the shark himself. We have Demi.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Death Aura LE, we have the Australian Protoss player representing Legacy Esports. It is Probe.
So will Demi just go for those corruptors again? I kind of want to see that.
Yeah, it was a treat to see the way Demi used those corruptors. He just immediately, when he got them, he just went across the map and immediately targeted down the Nexuses. He had no intention of trying to find the Phoenixes and trying to deal with them. No. It was all about the Nexus sniping.
That's your anti-air. I can make use of this.
And we'll see if that comes into play here on Death Aura. Again, you know, if we were talking about Eternal Empire, it is a larger map. It is a map that, you know, you can do a lot more with Mutalisks. Like, there's a lot of room to maneuver and to escape, like, the ground army of your opponents. Meanwhile, on a map like this, you know, because of those speed zones, because of the layout of the map, it maybe is a little bit easier to deal with things like that. It's hard to say. I'm just really curious to see if Probe goes for a Stargate opener once again, or instead goes to that Twilight Council.
And we're about to find out. Have we, now that I think about it, have we ever casted Probe go for the Adept Printer?
I don't think we have.
Yeah.
I actually don't think we have.
Yeah, he...
Yeah.
Guy likes the Stargates.
I actually don't think we have. Yeah. now that you mentioned
I can't
it,
remember it.
Yeah. I don't want to say he always goes Stargate because we've seen him Cannon Rush. We've seen Probe go Forge first. But yeah, against Rex specifically. But yeah, he really does like his Stargate openers. So we'll see. We'll see if Demi again. This could be a hindrance to Probe. Like maybe because he keeps doing the same kind of opener. Like Demi's more comfortable with this, and maybe he kind of has his number. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I think it is a little on Probe to kind of switch things up. Right now, Def Aura it could be it's a much shorter map than Eternal Empire. I'll give you that. So if you're able to amass your Phoenixes quickly, should be able to make use of them early on.
I mean, I can't imagine he's going to go double Stargate 2 games in a row, right?
Maybe not double Stargate, but he could just try to get a Force of Phoenixes out with a single Stargate, transition to something different.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. We'll see as Probe. Oh, he does throw down that Twilight Council.
I'm thinking Blink.
It could be for charge as well. We'll see how this goes out, how this plays out, as we do have that Oracle on the way as well for Probe.
Yeah, starting to make its way around. Phoenix just juking around, trying to deny as many Overlords as it can, and yeah, we're waiting to see how our players will transition. Demi with the quick +1 melee. This is going to be a Zerg player who's going to be very aggressive very shortly. So it's going to be a little bit more on Probe to deny that.
Yeah, definitely. He's looking to be quite aggressive with Lings and Banes as well. Meanwhile, we do see Probe going for those Glaive Adepts behind this Stargate opener, which I quite like. You know, like you go Stargate first to deny scouting, and then sneakily you are going for those Glaives.
Yeah, and this is not going to be, that that dedicated pressure that we typically see with a Glaive Adept opening. This is really Probe just building, sort of investing in his future, so to speak.
Yeah, and we'll see how this plays out, because again, as you were pointing out, there's no Roach Warren for Demi. He is going Lingbane with that +1 melee, and with that upgrade, like Lingbane, it can trade fairly well against Glaive Adepts. Again, a lot of it does kind of come down to positioning, you know, getting surrounds, getting those baneling connections, and yeah, we do see Demi also getting his 4th base. So both players kind of just ramping up, droning up, you know, investing in the future, as you were saying.
It's just so awkward to think about Adepts versus Lingbane as your mid-game composition.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see who's the first to be aggressive. We do have a Robo coming out from Probe, so we could see a War Prism coming out. We could see Probe apply some pressure with his Glaive Adepts. But yeah, again, we'll just kind of see how this plays out. Demi, he's working on his lair. The Adepts, they're here. They have run all the way across the map, and I don't think there are any banelings ready for this.
I do not believe so. It is just Lings, a couple of banelings being morphed in now, and yeah, against this many Adepts, if you can get to a choke point, what are those Lings going to do?
And again, this is really catching Demi off guard. He was droning up this entire time. He was not prepared for these Adepts. Wow,
that was sneaky by Probe.
Yeah.
Demi really not anticipating these Adepts coming in, but it looks like a baneling did get a decent connection.
Yeah, the baneling connections were decent, but again, these Adepts are just continuing to get more and more damage done, even focusing down the Queen. Nice transfuses. There are Lings on the way, but in the midst of all this, 13 drones have gone down.
And these Adepts are still alive. Trying to get even more damage done.
Oh my god.
This is a massacre.
Yeah. In the end, 14 drones have gone down. And I mean, Demi, he does hold. You know, in the end, the baneling connections were good enough, like the Lings were good enough, and of course, we should have known that this was coming. We have a Spire on the way.
Yeah, both the Spire as well as the Roach Warren. He is getting +2 range, so it looks like Demi is going to be using his Mulus almost exclusively as a harassment force this time.
Yeah. The composition that Demi is going for. Fun fact: Oreo was actually talking about how this is one of his preferred ways to play this matchup.
Ooh, interesting. Why don't you walk us through that? Right now, it seems kind of like a Probe has forced Demi into composition that he would prefer to face.
Yeah, it's quite possible. You know, Roach Ling Bane into Mulus is definitely what I'm sure Demi in the end would have wanted to go for. Like the Spire is kind of his thing, right? And we'll see how this plays out as Probe is actually starting to push out with his Immortals, with his gateway-based army. I'm not too sure if this is the right move. To be fair, the Spire isn't done yet, so Mutalists aren't going to take a part in this engagement.
Yeah, I think this may just be the right call. He's got a decent amount of energy on his sentries. He's got the Stalkers here, and honestly, right now Demi's going Roach Ravager Ling Bane. And this is the anti-Roach Ravager Ling Bane composition.
Oof, yeah, and the Ravagers, they did just morph in, able to take out the wall, but it just gets put down again.
And it gets taken down again, but it gets put down again.
Oh my god, the force fields are just on point, and even forcing a drone pool as well. Demi, he needs everything to try and hold against this, but the stasis is able to catch a lot of that. And Demi, he doesn't really have any banelings ready for this. He's morphing in some now, kind of in a panic, and Probe, he may just have too much.
I think he has way too much here. Well, it ain't over till it's over. Demi could still force a choke point and try to force a concave.
Oh yeah, the Immortals are being focused down. One Immortal falls. There are no sentries, no more force fields are available at the moment for Probe.
Yeah, Probe is blinking as about as best as he could, but he does miss a couple of these timings.
Yeah, and all the Immortals have fallen. It's just Blink Stalkers against the army of Demi, and that's kind of what you wanted. Like Demi, he slowly ground away, killed all the sentries, killed all the Immortals. It's just Stalkers remaining.
Absolutely. When you have this many Stalkers, you can do a lot, but you just don't have the sustainability that you would have if you had those sentries and you had those Immortals.
Yeah. So with that, Demi is able to hold. To be fair, like he is a little bit behind. Like he's behind in workers. Probe is working on his fourth base behind this. He's actually taking up getting his robotics facility as well. Robotics bay even to get some kind of AOE. So yeah, Probe, he's already working on that next step.
And that's exactly where Probe wants to be right now. He wants to make Demi think that he's being a little overly aggressive with his Stalkers. But now we know he is not. He's getting a double Colossus at a time, which I actually kind of like. There aren't too many roaches out on the map right now, so it's gonna do. Especially if you can have what's it called? Advanced thermal lance? Not advanced. The other one. Extended thermal lance. There we go. Probe needs a siege unit, and what better than a Colossus?
Yeah, Probe is transitioning quite nicely into this Colossus and also Zealot-based army. Meanwhile, Demi, we do see +1 flyer attacks on the way. He already has a decent amount of Mutalists as well. Getting into what he wants, but again, like, I feel like we need a better answer to deal with these Colossus.
Yeah, this would actually be a good time to get Corruptors out.
Yeah, it would. It would be a decent time for Corruptors. Or even Lurkers, something to try and deal with that siege-based army. Meanwhile, Demi, he does spot the army of Probe. He's aware of where it is. Does he have enough though? He is maxed out.
Oh, I like this. Pulling his Zealots away so they don't take damage from so they don't charge into Banelings. Bit of a meat grinder there with the force fields and with the Colossus. Thermal Lance is about to be finishing up. And once that is, I just cannot see Demi doing too much here unless he gets some really good AoE damage.
Oh, yeah. Again, there's still plenty of sentries here, plenty of energy for force fields, so Demi has to be careful whenever he engages in any of these choke points, on any of these ramps, and Probe, he's just pushing on up. Meanwhile, Demi, he's trying to get like a Pseudos around.
Yeah, almost gonna be getting it, but unfortunately one of the sides of this army is gonna get thinned out before the other can collapse. Probe does still have to be careful. He's in the middle of the map and could just get surrounded a lot easier now. And I mean, Blink, it's gonna save the Stalkers. That's not really gonna save the Colossus or the Zealots.
Ooh, the Biles land, destroying most, if not all, of the sentries there, and getting on top of the Colossus.
One of them alive. Oh, fantastic juggling coming out from Probe. Will one Mutalisk be enough to kill it? No, it gets dealt with by the Stalkers.
Oh my god, that War Prism juggling was just on point. He was just able to save both Colossus. A lesser player would have lost them both immediately, as they have such low health. And Demi, there we have it. We do have those Corruptors we were talking about on the way.
Corruptors and a lot of Banelings.
Yeah, and Demi, I feel like at any moment now, he should be able to crush through what Probe currently has out on the map. But Probe, he is transitioning. He is working on Disruptors instead.
Yeah, the better unit that you want when you're facing this Roach Ravager-based army.
Yeah, it does also mean that, again, I almost want to say the Corruptors of Demi, like they're kind of limited in their use, but we did see in game one, they can be used to snipe Nexuses as well.
Well, I feel like the one thing that's going to get in the way of that this game is just the sheer amount of Blink Stalkers out here from Probe. They're a lot more maneuverable than Archons are.
Yeah, definitely. They are a lot better for base defense, for dealing with these Corruptors. Meanwhile, the armies are kind of missing each other. Probe rotating to the left-hand side, meanwhile Demi rotating up to the right-hand side. We'll see if a recall is forced, or if they kind of go like for a base for a base. Probe's still turning around.
Yeah, I feel like it's not quite going to be a base trade. I think Probe is confident enough in his reinforcing units, but Demi, he is not. He is turning right around.
Oh yeah, it does get a kill on that hatchery, and Demi, he's forced back to try and deal with this Protoss army.
And this is going to be a positional battle right now. Demi really going to have to set up his surrounds as best he can. But is it going to work out for him?
Yeah, you have to be so careful because Probe, he has remade the sentries, like he has a lot more energy for force field, so you have to be so careful whenever you try and engage this army.
Oh, Purification Nova just missing that army. A nice use of force field. Gonna be blocking the entire army from coming up this ramp. And Demi is just gonna be backing away. Both players are now maxed out. Dark Shrine, I love this.
Yeah, we do see this quite often, especially in these late game scenarios like DTs sniping hatcheries or killing drones across the map. It can be quite common, quite frustrating to deal with. We'll see if that comes into play here. As again, like Probe, he is maxed out, so he needs to lose something to make some DTs. He actually just did.
He just did, yeah. Killed a few of his stalkers, it seemed.
Wow, yeah.
This is how you know Probe is serious.
Oh god, but he has to be so careful not to get surrounded.
Oh, but look at this beautiful denial of the surrounded. Purification Nova does not manage to pop off. Ooh. But here it goes. The other one does. Really beautiful force fields here towards the north, preventing that surround. Just flat out denying it on its face.
Yeah, one of the Disruptors was sniped, but the other still stands strong. More Colossus joining the army as well, and this could just be too much. I mean, the Corruptors of Demi, they're trying to rotate around, trying to find an angle to get at the Colossus. I
think Probe has gotten critical mass. Disruptor will be taken out, but again, these force fields are fantastic. Beautiful Purification Nova, and this is a surround, but honestly, there's just not enough meat in that surround.
Exactly, like the Colossus have fallen, but the gateway army for Probe, it looks like it's going to be enough.
GG is called. Probe is going to tie up that series sideways 1-1. That was a big brain move from Probe right at the start.
Yeah, I love how Probe he like adapted his army composition, and like the big brain move. Of course, you're talking about the Glaive Adepts. Like, yeah, they completely caught Demi off guard, and he got a lot of damage with them.
Who makes that many Adepts after going Stargate first and goes into Glaives?
Yeah, it's really smart, especially because he didn't wait for like a Warp Prism or anything. He just warped them in and just like ran across the map. And on a map like Death Horror, you can do that, right? Because of the speed zones.
Yeah. And by the time you get there, yeah, I don't know, sure, let's go for there. I appreciate the move by Probe. Showing that he's not just a defensive Protoss player.
Yeah, definitely.
We laughed when he did a Cannon Rush 3 games in a row, but who's laughing now?
He was just, he was just setting the stage, like getting us into a false sense of security. And now here he is. I just love how he adapted his composition, right? Like you pointed out earlier, where he had a lot more like of a Blink Stalker based army. And because of that, like he was a lot more maneuverable. He was ready for the Spire switch as well. It was really nicely done.
Corruptors are probably a little upset they weren't able to Cossack spray.
Yeah, right?
I would be too. Alright, we're going into game number 3.
That we are. It's going to be on Pillars of Gold, which, I mean, I'm not too sure about this matchup. I know in like ZVT it is a little bit more Zerg favored. Not too sure how it comes into play here against Protoss. We shall see.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I still think that the Zerg player will have a bit of an upper hand, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be as much of an advantage as it... Well, we'll see, because, again, there's these wide open spaces that the Zerg player can take advantage of. Or the wide openings, I should say, towards the bases. But yeah, force field usage is going to have to be on point. And speaking of on point, not on match point, we have the player in the bottom left-hand corner map, spotting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner of Pillars of Gold, holding up the golden wall, protecting the Eternal Empire, where the LE submarines are kept. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have the Reds coming out all the way from the land of India, going to be representing Downfall Gaming. We have the Shark himself, looking to clinch his 4th consecutive ESL Open Cup Fueled by Dare. Can he do it? We have Demi.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the Australian Protoss player representing Legacy Esports. It is Probe.
A good old Downfall Legacy rivalry.
Not too sure if there's much of a rivalry there, but sure, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Well, nowadays, I think Mind Freak has been making that more of a triangle.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like Mind Freak has a pretty big roster and a lot of like players, but at the same time, a lot of them, they're kind of like playing Tarkov or doing other things.
They're waiting for the time.
Yeah, like I even saw Seether in the chat earlier as well. Like it's been a while since we've seen Seether sign up and compete. And I hope that isn't a sign to like that doesn't allude to something as, again, like DreamHack the next season it's looming. It's right around the corner. I hope everyone's like informed for it, right? Not just Seether, but like players like Cut as well, NXZ, Chase, like some of these other guys that we just
they're
haven't
hiding
seen.
their form.
Maybe.
Potentially.
Yeah. It's just I know that everyone was really like hyped and excited and practicing really hard for summer. I hope that they can do the same for fall. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like it was just announced like today, yesterday,
Last night, let's say.
last night. Yeah.
And we've got to that point, like, where Probe is starting to do what we've never often seen. Is he actually going to get Glaives behind this?
I mean, I imagine so. We do see this Twilight Council opener for Probe, followed by that Robo. So yeah, we could see Glaives. Again, what I love about this matchup is that there are different variants. Like you can throw down a Dark Shrine as well for a DT follow-up. You can throw down 4 gates. You can throw down 6 gates, like committing a different amount to the amount of adepts. And there we go. We have
Glaive.
confirmation. It is Glaives.
Get the camera. Probe is taking his first steps into the mind of Zest. Or, I don't know. Into the Zest fan club. I don't know why I was going to that.
Yeah, make sure that Stats isn't watching. He may be a little bit offended. I'm not too sure. As Demi, he did go for overlord speed, and he did get a full scout of the main base. He saw the robo. He sees the Twilight Council. He saw the gases. He should know what he is up against.
Or he might just suspect that there's a Stargate somewhere.
I mean, I guess. If me and Michael was a Protoss, he would throw down the Stargate somewhere else and just go Max Oracle. Yeah.
Alright, so this time Demi is going to be a lot more prepared, getting Roach Warren really early on. And he's going to be able to defend his bases up. He's already got creep connecting all of them. Even getting a spine crawler. I love this.
Yeah, this is, like Demi, he's preparing. He knows exactly what this is. Like with that earlier Roach Warren, with the spine as well, with the creep connecting the bases, like this is all to help defend against these adepts and make sure that he doesn't lose anywhere near as many probes as he did in the previous game.
But Glaive is just about to pop in, and with these shades finishing up, this is a really good choke point.
Yeah, it is. Not a lot of surface area for the Lings to come in and deal with them. And Lings are all Demi has at the moment, as the Roach Warren only did just finish up, so he doesn't have any quite yet to help deal with this.
I don't think he has a gas count or something, as
yeah.
He's just making a lot more, yeah, he doesn't have the gas for Roaches. He's just making a lot more Lings to try to deal with this.
Oh my god, and now the drones are starting to fall. Like the Lings have been dealt with, the adepts, they're in the mineral lines, they're in the main base, they're in the natural as well. Like despite having the Roach Warren, only now 3 roaches are being made.
This is a bit of a move to say the least. More and more adepts are being warped in. And already 15 drones. There's a little bit of pressure here in the natural base of Probe. If he's not careful, he could lose a gateway. But thankfully, the recall is on point. And honestly, Probe, he's satisfied with the damage he's done. He's taken out 14 drones. He's just building up for his next step.
That was almost too much damage. I mean,
we'll see if Demi... Probe, the wall! It's a wall.
Yeah, the wall is a wall. Demi, he saw an opportunity, he tried to sneak in, but Probe was on top of it, and now that War Prism is moving out across the map once again, looking to deal even more drone damage.
But there's nothing in the main.
What a big brain move. There is nothing in the main.
You see, they can't get drone damage done if you don't have drones.
Exactly. And yeah, the problem is that Demi, he still only has 1 gas. He's working on his lair, which is quite nice, but I'm not too sure what the next plan is. Like again, we see Demi go Spire from time and time again. Is he going to try and go for it in game number 3? I
feel like Spire is something that Demi's going to be working towards. It's the ideal structure for him right now, but it's going to take a long time before he has the resources to fully utilize it.
Yeah, definitely, as he is now taking his 2nd and 3rd gases at his natural. You know, he's trying to catch up. He's been droning up this entire time as well. But the problem is that behind this, he got a 3rd base. Like, he's maintaining his economic lead, or at least attempting to.
It's really, it's not really getting more ahead from a advantageous situation, but just, you know, holding on to that lead, keeping it secure, and just trying to pressure Demi every now and then, making sure that he can't comfortably macro up and get back in this game.
Exactly, and I love this as well. We have Blink on the way for Probe this time. So again, with Blink Stalkers, even if there was a Spire being thrown down, like Probe, he will already have a decent counter or a decent answer to that as well. So Probe kind of playing the player here in this situation, going for that Blink. Meanwhile, Demi, he has not thrown down the Spire quite yet. He is still committing to those roaches.
Which I think is the right call for the moment. Eventually, Demi's going to get that Spire. That's just what he likes to do. And honestly, going for a Spire as your late game is not a bad move at all. But for now, he realizes what the state of his economy is at. He knows that he cannot quite afford that Spire and or to make use of that Spire.
Yeah, the problem is that Probe, he's here. He's pushing out across the map. He has a decent amount of sentries. He has a decent immortal count as well. Does Demi have enough here?
I can tell you right now, no. If the Protoss player ever has more, army supply, then yeah, you can categorically state that no, this player does not have enough.
Exactly, like it's always terrifying to see the Protoss player ahead in army supply. So yeah, unless the army is segmented, unless he's kind of split off, then maybe Demi has a chance. But at the moment, Probe, he just rotates around, forces a cancel on the 4th base, and then just leaves.
Yeah, does not want to quite take that risk of trying to kill Demi outright.
Yeah, like there's definitely an opportunity there, like defensively, for Demi to come back and take like a favorable engagement. Instead, Probe, you know, he gets the cancel and then he backs off, like kind of just securing his lead, like maintaining his lead. Yeah. And yeah, as a response, Demi, we were talking about it. There we go. The Spire has been thrown down.
Indeed, it has. And just looking at the workers right now for Demi and looking at the gas counts, he deserves it. Or rather, he can afford it, but he also deserves it for putting up with these defenses as well as on a wall probe. And there are no shield batteries in his natural base. This adept just barely off center and forces a recall on top of that. 11 probes go down with it, and now Demi is looking absolutely favored economically. But I'm still kind of worried for him. I think this may just prompt Probe to move across the map and try to end it.
Yeah, like this was really good damage done by Demi. Like this is something that he needed to do, but at the same time, it, as you were saying, like it could force Probe across the map, and at the moment Probe is still ahead in that army supply.
Very much so, and it's possible for the Zerg player to try to come back from this, right? To try to utilize that defender's advantage from a lower supply position, but it's a lot harder for Zerg to do that compared to the other two races.
Yeah, definitely, and just like that, the 4th base gets killed for Demi. I hope Demi, he tries to take it to the bottom right instead, a little bit more defensive position. But we'll see if we even get to that, as Demi, he's trying to make as many banelings as he can, trying to make as much army as he can to try and hold against Probe.
Well, I can tell you, if Probe moves down a ramp into the face of banelings, that's gonna be good for Demi.
Yeah, definitely. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks are here across the map, but there are already Stalkers. Like the Blink Stalkers, they're doing so well defensively here. But despite that, Demi, you know, he's finding some damage.
Yeah, there's only a single cannon here, surprisingly in range of the shield battery.
Yeah. So even more probes do go down. 11 probes have fallen.
Probe is just going back and forth. He's not certain whether he wants to commit to this attack, and it seems like he doesn't.
Yeah, honestly, like, there's no reason for Probe not to have just still been active there on the other side of the map. He does pull back instead, as these Mutalisks, they do have his attention. But Demi, he's been stuck on 3 bases. Like, he's been struggling a lot to try and get another one up and running. I would have liked him to have seen him double expand, to, like, take a 4th to the left and the right-hand side. But, yeah, still just struggling to take that base. And we've gotten to a point where, you know, both players are maxed out. I do still kind of favor Probe, though, as I do believe he does have like the almost superior, the higher tech army at the moment.
Yeah, the way higher tech army. He's ahead on the upgrades as well. And honestly, I think the only reason why Probe didn't move out was just he was waiting for these Colossus.
It's possible that Probe just wanted to max out first, make sure that he got here in this position. And it's important to bear in mind, even though Demi's maxed out, like a lot of the supply are in the Mutalisks, and it doesn't look like they're going to be a part of this fight.
No, they will not. They should be able to get some harassment done, or they could try to swing back into a bit of a flank. But yeah, Probe knows what Demi is going for, and he is looking to meet this army in the middle of the map, and he has.
Oh, yeah, and they're both just kind of, you know, bouncing off each other here at the moment. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks of Demi, they are still across the map. They will be killing more probes.
They're trying to get this cannon right now.
They're trying.
Yeah, I think Demi's focused elsewhere at the moment.
Yeah, instead he does go off into the natural instead, getting more probe damage. But Probe, he's still here out across the map, hitting that 4th base once again. All the Colossus, though.
Colossus should go down, but it doesn't.
Wow.
Barely living right there. Force fields really saving the day. I think this may just be it. This is, it's been a while since we could actually apply this term, but I think we have seen, I think Probe has built up his death ball.
Yeah, I mean, Demi, he is dealing a decent amount of counter damage, like, maybe if he had killed that Colossus, things would be turning out a little bit differently, but, yeah, Probe, he is having a hard time pushing down into this position down the ramp.
Yeah, well, slowly but surely is how it gets done. Demi's starting to set up a surround. And Probe, he's got to take his fights carefully. But he does have to go. War Prism will live. Whew.
Oh, yeah, the Mutalisks have returned. Demi trying to go for that surround, positioning his army quite nicely. Probe, he just doesn't feel confident. Yeah, he doesn't feel confident trying to push into that.
Yeah, which is a little bit surprising. I mean, can't really blame him. I think a lot of his army is on these Blink Stalkers, which aren't the most ideal unit when you're going into a choke point and trying to deal with Lingbane Ravager.
Yeah, definitely. And Demi, he's finally opting to go for that base over on the right-hand side of the map, the right-hand corner even. As we can see, like, Demi, he's really hurting at the moment in terms of economy. Like, his bases are starting to mine out. He's been stuck on 3 for so long.
He very much has. And Probe, he's on a similar probe count, or worker count, I should say, but he has been on 4 bases for quite a while. He has been able to make use of them, and we can kind of see that already in the banks. Demi really struggling.
Yeah, that does mean that Probe, he can afford to trade even a little bit inefficiently and just remake that army, especially since he does have that War Prism here to reinforce.
Only a little bit inefficiently, though. As, yeah, he's got a lot of Stalkers that he can sacrifice, but I don't think he wants to be losing these Robo units.
Yeah, the high-tech units he needs to keep alive. He can afford to lose the Stalkers and these Gateway units, but he just has to be careful how he engages, or even warping in some DTs.
It's not morphing them into Archons, he is just looking to be annoying with them.
Oh, you say annoying, but I don't know how much detection there is here for Demi. It looks like the DTs are going to be dealing quite some damage.
Nice last second blinks here from Probe, gonna be keeping everything alive. Thankfully, there was an overseer here for Demi, so the DTs that got taken out. And now it's a little bit of back and forth.
Yeah, and well, the Banelings are actually connecting.
They are starting to connect, and that's a lot of damage. Force fields, gotta keep what remains of Probe's army alive. But he is kind of forced to remake those Stalkers.
Yeah, and honestly, those were some excellent Baneling connections there for Demi, getting into the heart of the army, taking a huge chunk out of what Probe had. And meanwhile, the Mutalisks were dealing with the DTs, so the Mutalisks they've dealt with them. They could be coming back. No, they're going across the map instead.
Right into the main base, right into the heart of Probe's reduction, where there honestly isn't a lot of defense. There's a single cannon and no shield batteries.
Yeah, so these Mutalisks, they can deal some decent damage. Oh, Probe has to be careful here.
Oh, I love how he's baiting out these Banelings, potentially trying to get them into range of the Colossus. But that was actually Demi's trap, forcing the blink so that the Biles could land.
That they do, and more Probes are going down across the map. These Mutalisks are dealing just so much damage here, and there's nothing to defend.
Yeah, there really isn't.
Oh, there we go.
Surprised that Probe hasn't really gone into just making a forest of cannons and shield batteries yet.
Yeah, I mean, he has the money. He had the money for it, right? You could invest in that static defense, but these Mutalisks are dealing more damage, keeping Probe's attention across the map, even forcing all these Stalkers to warp in defensively.
Honestly, I'm a little bit worried for Probe right now. It seems like he may be tunnel vision a bit. He is basically 4-base all-inning right now, and these Banelings, man, they are deadly. They do crash into just about everything. But they just get taken out. It's only Ravagers left, and Ravagers against Stalkers? I kind of favor the Stalkers.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, a couple of Immortals do get exposed, and one of the Colossus did fall. Only one remaining here, and the Immortal falls as well. It's just Stalkers and one Colossus remaining for Probe.
Yeah, Probe is really going to have to take care of that. There are a lot of Lings being thrown out by Demi, and by a lot, I mean 10. That's the state of the economy. And there you have it. Probe, now on match point, takes game number 2 after very cautious and patient play.
Yeah, like Demi, he was trying his best, and honestly, like, he was trading fairly well. He was dealing a lot of economic damage across the map, but in the end, we did see him trade away all of his Banelings, and once all of his Banelings were gone, like, that was like the big threat of his army, and then things kind of swung in Probe's favor.
Yeah, I got a little worried towards the end there, as, you know, it would have been, I feel like Probe could have tried to get a bit more ahead, or either that or thrown a lot of static defense, and yeah, I was worried that if Demi caught wind of that, he could have, just had one good engagement and tried to go for a counterattack, but it was not the case. Probe, he just stood stalwart and solid.
Yeah, that he did. It was really impressive to see. And I agree. Like Probe definitely could have invested in some kind of static defense in his mineral lines. And that would have just forced. That really would have just solidified his win. Like if the Realist couldn't deal damage across the map. But yeah, just regardless, even without that, really well played there by Probe.
Conspiracy theory time. Demi's asking for the bathroom real quick. Do you think Probe was just playing on trying to make Demi run out of patience?
It's possible. It's quite possible. I'm not too sure, but it is a way to win, to be sure. Yeah. I don't know if that came into play, came into why Demi
Probably not
pulled the trigger, but I would hope not.
But, yeah, I could have sworn that we were on this map earlier, but that was a different series. We are going to be loading into Ice and Chrome.
Yeah. A nice ZVP on Ice and Chrome. Now, here's the question, Yaku. Are we going to see Stargate or Twilight Council?
Oh. As the opening, you meant.
Yeah, as the opener.
You don't really see Proxy Robo in PvZ, do you? For good reason.
I mean, it can happen from time to time, but not really.
I want to say Blink, but I'm not too sure on that one.
Yeah. I'm just kind of curious to see how this plays out. And I think you're right in saying that. I don't think even if we do see a Stargate opener, I don't think we're going to see like triple Oracle, coming out from Probe. He's just not that kind of player.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
We shall see. Me off guard again. And speaking of C, we are now on Ice Cream. LE. LE, of course, standing for... I can't think of any flavors, so... Go ahead and that. In the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have a Red Z coming down all the way from the land of India. He is going to be representing Downfall Gaming. The Shark himself, looking to... Well, it's not quite a reverse sweep, but it's a half reverse sweep. Something like that. Here on this map, we have Demi.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ice and Chrome LE, we have the Australian Protoss player representing Legacy Esports, currently up 2-1 in this best of 5. He just needs one more and he will reclaim his title as ESL Fueled by their champion. He is Probe.
Oh boy. But yeah, we talked a little bit about Probe's openings. I feel like throughout the series he's been we're seeing that standard dynamic of PvZ where Probe is going to be the one who switches up his openings, and Demi, he's just opening up solid and versatile, trying to react to what Probe throws at him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Probe goes for something that he did previously.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm just really excited for Probe because like I did just mention his return to being an ESL champion, as he hasn't won one of these since May.
Oh,
yeah,
that was almost 3 months ago.
It's been a long time. His last win was number 6.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Despite that, though, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Probe currently has the record for most ESL Fueled by Dare championships, whether it's 4 or 5. I believe it's 5.
Actually, Seether does.
Oh!
Seether has 6 wins, and Probe has 4.
Oh, where did that come from?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, especially leading into DreamHack, like Probe, especially in recent weeks, like people have been able to take him out, like Azure, Pez, Demi, Micah. They've all been able to take series off of him. But that's also why I'm excited to finally see Probe in the finals again. It's been quite some time.
It indeed has. 3 months, as you were saying.
Yeah.
I guess a little less than that, because I think he came in as a runner-up a couple of times after that, but yeah.
He did not.
Oh.
It's been that long since we've seen him in the finals. So yeah, we'll see if he's able to finally come back and take the win once again, or if Demi is able to continue his win streak, which he has been working on. As we didn't really get to mention it, but we do have, once again, this Stargate opener coming out from Probe.
Yeah, Phoenix Oracle could be how he goes, and gonna be grabbing a Robo Facility right after that. So it's not gonna be Mass Phoenix, at least not yet. Probe just looking to build a solid ground army.
Yeah, it's not going to be double Stargate. Instead, we do have, once again, that Twilight Council being thrown down after the Stargate.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm getting flashbacks. This is exactly what happened on Death Aura.
Well,
this is exactly what happened on Death Aura.
With one exception, though. Probe did not go for the Robo Facility just yet on Death Aura.
True. There was, okay, so there is that difference. Because on Death Aura, because of the speed zones, because of the shorter rush distance, he didn't need a War Prism to push out with his Glaive Adepts. He just ran them across the map. This time on Ice and Chrome, yeah, he needs that War Prism to warp them in. But
it's not gonna be Glaive's Light! Oh, Probe! This has the potential to just flat out kill Demi, or it has the potential to just flat out fall on its face. Kind of.
So Demi is going for +1 on his Lings, and he's going for Banelingness. Banelings are what you need against charge lots. It's so difficult to deal with this with Roach Ravager. You need some kind of support, because once the Zealots get on top of the Roaches, then the Roaches, they just flounder. They struggle so much to deal with them. So honestly, Banelings, it's a good answer.
Are they an answer to Archons, though?
No.
I'm loving this. I feel like Probe has kind of looked at those, and I know there are a lot of other Protoss players who do this, but the 2 players who I think of who have done this charge opening, usually with +1, Probe for going that in favor of the Archons, but yeah, the players who do that, Patience and Beastork, Probe kind of taking a page from there and modifying it to kind of make up for the weaknesses.
Yeah, definitely, and this does mean, I was about to say that this is why we do have players go Ling Bane Roaches to defend against this. So you have the Roaches to deal with the Archons, Ling Bane for the Zealots, and the Immortals, but instead Demi going Ling Bane Hydra.
I mean, it can work if the Protoss player is not as focused on sentries.
Yeah, definitely, it can work, and the Protoss player won't be as focused on sentries. Like, it would be a little bit awkward to have force fields, or no, actually, never mind. I was gonna say it would be awkward to force field out Zealots, but yeah.
I think Demi's kind of banking on, or rather, he's building towards defending against War Prism right now, because he knows that there's not going to be a lot of force fields right now. I was gonna say, I thought for a second Probe might have just gotten the early charge and is kind of building into something later on, but here comes that warp in, and I'm worried, like.
The thing I'm worried about is that Demi, he does this quite often, especially in different matchups. He doesn't have any any Banelings ready for this. Like the Zealots, when they come here, and if there are no Banelings ready, they can just chew through this army of Demi.
Especially those Hydralisks. He's gonna have to protect them as much as he can. Probe actually waiting for a second warp in of Zealots, and here it comes.
Exactly. Banelings are being morphed in now, but it's a little bit too late as the hatchery is being focused down. We have even Baneling speed finished for Demi, but he just needs Banelings. Like, he didn't have them ready, and now he lost the hatchery. Zealots, they're going into the main base as well.
And it's going to pick off quite a lot of damage. Thankfully, that was only the 4th base of Demi, as he does have that 3rd that's already saturated out, so not going to be end of the world. For Probe to be able to take that little bit of an advantage this early on, though, that can very easily have a domino effect, especially looking at how he's building, what he's building into.
Yeah, definitely, and this is why it can be so difficult to make Lingbane Hydra work, is that Storm just does so well against his army composition, and that's why I love how Probe, he acknowledges this, he realizes this, he's already taking up into that, he already has High Templar already morphed in, ready, stocking up that energy, and yeah, it's gonna be so difficult for Demi to apply pressure here, unless he does something a little bit cheeky.
A little bit cheeky, like killing us around. Keeps it alive.
It's okay, it's okay. It's safe, he's fine. But something cheeky that, I don't know, maybe like Baneling drops or something along those lines. Speaking of drops though, there is that Warp Prism looking to get into the main base once again of Demi.
Yeah,
or just chill there.
With Zaltz right now. Well, I think he's waiting for just the right timing. He's sending in these divergent or diversion zealots, and look at this, drawing the ground army out of position, and there Probe goes. Oh, but there's Hydra, sorry.
Yeah, Demi, he's aware of this. Demi already has Hydras in position, and as I was saying, we do have Droppalord being morphed in to try and get some Banelings into the mineral lines, but Probe, he's here across the map with his main army. And Storm.
And Storm. Not too many forcing us out. He only has one sentry in the moment, but yeah, if he can just force those units to run into the Storm, that's going to be helping out quite a bit. What were you talking about earlier, Light? Something cheeky like Bane drops?
Yeah, this is what you need to do as a Zerg player. You need to try and do something to the economy of Probe. And yeah, it looks like this. Oh, he does react.
Yeah, quick little evacuation. Demi trying to go around into the main base. Is it gonna happen?
Ooh,
or the national base, I should say.
Yeah. He needs to drop the base. He needs to drop him. No! Oh god!
Jumps one. He jumps two. He jumps two, and with one he gets 8.
Wow, and that is the importance of those melee upgrades. You don't need 2 Banelings to kill a mineral line, only 1 is necessary. Ooh, even catches Immortal in the middle of the map.
It looks like Demi's trying to push in here. I think I do slightly favor Probe right now. As you're saying, these storms will chew through this army in a heartbeat, but
yeah.
So we'll see how this goes. Yeah, definitely has an opportunity to maybe try to go for some surrounds or
the Warp Prism.
Try to find an opening where Probe is a little bit more vulnerable to these Baneling busts.
But Probe, he does find a way up, but he decides to back off, not really committing to this push, almost getting surrounded, actually. Oh god.
Yeah, and we kind of see how good these storms can be. The supply of Demi is starting to plummet, but I feel like he's losing quite a bit of his buffer. He's definitely using up a lot of his storms. These Archons in the back protecting these Templar. But Demi will eventually take this out. Beautiful concave here from 2 sides.
At the same time, though, there was a big Zealot run by. It looks like the Queens were able to buy just enough time, though, for the main army of Demi to come back. So these Zealots, actually, they didn't get into the mineral line. They didn't get any worker kills.
That's ever so important when you're playing in the position of Demi. Because Probe, that is what he wants to get. He wants to be able to catch his Zerg opponent off guard and just get a lot of damage done with these Warpins.
Yeah, and honestly, that engagement was so good for Demi. Like that surround, that pseudo surround, that flank, even getting his Banelings into the heart of Probe's army, and even gets the Warp Prism.
I feel like Probe, he's got to compose himself real quick. Things are starting to fall apart for him a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. He needs to back off. He needs to do what he does best and defend here at home. And he does have a decent amount of storms available to him. He even has a bunch of shield batteries, a bunch of cannons, a bunch of static defense. Will it be enough, though, as so many Banelings are being morphed in?
They are. But I feel like Probe has more than enough than he needs right now. Sends in the Zealot just to scout out what's going on. Good little storm. Takes out a chunk of the health of a chunk of the Hydra list. Does a Stasis Ward. But the Overseer does catch that.
Wow. Yeah, he is able to spot that, and he is looking to try and surround the army. Storms, though.
Yeah, great storms here. Going to be able to take out one of the fronts of Demi right now.
Yeah, he was even able to storm over to the north as well, but Demi, he's breaking through that northern section, looking to try and get on top of the army, but the Zealot Warpin is able to push away all of the Hydras.
Yeah, I really like how Probe played that out. GG, well played is called. And I just really love towards the end there, Probe realized that as long as he's able to deal with the Lingbane, That's all he needs. He can warp in a bunch of Zealots. He had a lot of minerals banked up for that. And Hydra's not going to do much against Zealots.
Yeah, and what forced Demi all in there and forced that GG was that as all that was happening, there were Zealot run-bys happening across the map. All of the drones of Demi at the 4th and 3rd base were going down, so he was forced all in, and he just couldn't break Probe. The storms were good enough, the side defense as well. Like, he was just standing strong against the Lingbane Hydra of Demi.
Probe is back.
Probe is back, and what a time! Yeah, and what a time to be back, right? Like, we're nearing the end of ESL Open Cup Fueled by Dare, and we're getting into the beginning of Season 2 of DreamHack. So this is the perfect time to be focusing on StarCraft. He's finished his studies, he can focus on improving at the game, and he has returned. You know, it's been 3 months since he last won, and he's able to break that win streak of Demi and finally reclaim that championship.
Can he take the other two and potentially overtake Seether?
Yeah, we'll see. As now Probe has 5 ESL Open Cup wins as to Seether's 6, so he does need 1 more to tie it up. At the same time, as you were saying, we only have 2 weeklies left. I would love to see a new champion. I say it every time. My eyes are on Pez. I want Pez to do well. Kind of underperforming today though, like getting 2-0'd by Upley. Yeah, just really unfortunate that's how it went down. Or exciting depending on who you're looking at, right? Like that's like a huge win for Upley.
Very much so is. I do believe that this is the furthest he's made it in an ESL Open Cup Fueled by Dare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, really exciting, especially because again, players like Upley, Nux, like these are also like up and coming players that we want to keep an eye on. They've been doing really well in Our Die as well. Like Our Die is one of the tournaments that unfortunately we overlook sometimes, but you know, there's been a lot of sick games there as well, sick results, sick wins from these players, and like their moment to shine it's coming, right? With DreamHack Fall.
Or Autumn, depending on I look at
Autumn. I'm not too sure what it's called. We'll have to check.
And as Steel is reminding me real quick, thank you very much, Last Hope 88 with the subscription there. Expect your replays in the mail.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the subscription. I hope you enjoyed the ducks as well as the trumpets that we do spam for our intros. Yeah, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Of course, you will get the replay pack of this tournament as well. You know, you can do with it what you will if you want to use it to improve at the game, or you know, even cast on your own channel as well. Like these are available to you. And yeah, just thank you so much for the support. Speaking of support, do you want to talk about Dare?
Dare Ice Coffee! If life is getting you tired, or if other things are getting you tired, if you're tired in general, but you think it's way too hot out, you know, we're coming to the end of summer. That's when it's going to be hitting its peak of heatness. Or I guess if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're getting to the end of winter, which is where it's going to get into the hottest point of winter. Where was I going with that? You get tired, and you know what you need there? You need yourself a nice little cup of a pick-me-up there. But in this case, you don't want it to be hot. And you know what else you don't want? You don't want a cup. You want a bottle. You want a bottle of Dare Iced Coffee. Try the new Dare Cold Brew Latte with 2 natural ingredients, coffee plus milk. Good afternoon, Frigista? I think that's what it says?
Thanks so much.
There'll do ya.
Yeah. Shout out to Dare Ice Coffee for sponsoring, for being the main sponsor of this tournament. If it wasn't for them, we just wouldn't have this tournament, period. Not just this one, but also Warcraft 3. Like, if you're also interested in Warcraft 3, they also do sponsor Warcraft 3 weekly tournaments that GTR casts over the weekend. So yeah, it's really cool that they're, you know, taking their step into esports. They didn't just sponsor this, but they also sponsored ANZ Champs for DreamHack as well. So yeah, it's really cool that they're taking part in this. I'm not sure if they're going to sponsor the next season of DreamHack ANZ Champs as well. I would hope so. It'd be really cool if they do. And if they do, again, like, we're not too sure what's going to happen with the future of this tournament series. But if they're happy with it, if they're happy with like the viewership and like what has come of this, not just with StarCraft 2, but also with Warcraft 3, then I'm sure they'll be willing to like re-partner with ESL. So yeah, like if you're a fan of this region, if you're a fan of StarCraft, spread the word, right, about this tournament. Like, we only have 2 more weeks left.
Oh, that's a way smarter way of doing it. I was gonna suggest they go out and buy a bunch of Dare Ice coffee and specifically state that they got it from watching this tournament.
Head down to your local Woolworths and tell the cashier that, hey, we're supporting StarCraft, because that'll help. God damn it, Yaku. But yeah, like, a huge shout out to Dare. Like, it's cool that they're doing this, and I hope that they continue to work with ESL in the future. Again, shout out to ESL. It's really cool that ESL Australia have managed to work on this partnership, not just with Dare. We talk about it, like, they work with Menulog as well, Western Union, like ESL Australia. They've got deals on point. Like, it's really cool what they've been able to work on together with all these other companies.
And it can only mean good things for the future. Hopefully. And with that, I don't believe we have a schedule screen tonight, so I guess we'll just mention once again that we will not have a broadcast on Wednesday and Tuesday. Tuesday? No, today's Tuesday. Thursday, the other day, that's T. But on Friday, we will be coming back with the Master Swan Open. That is our tournament that we run as well as broadcast. It's going to be an amateur event from the leagues of bronze to 4.9k MMR, and yeah, that's open for everyone throughout the world, but it is going to be taking place at 7 p.m. KST, so do keep that in mind.
Yes, it is an hour later, I believe, than these other tournaments that we usually do here. But yeah, like, if you're a fan of the tournaments, of the casts, then do hit that follow button. We are live 5 days a week, sometimes 6. We'll be actually live 6 days a week next week. And yeah, we have it's okay. You don't have to be worried about it. It's fine, Yaku. It's fine. But yeah, we have plenty of StarCraft here, so do follow the channel if you're interested, if you want to support us. It isn't just me and Yaku, but we do have like a casting team. We have specific duos depending on what tournament series we're doing. So yeah, we have a little bit for everyone, not just in terms of casters, but also tournaments as well. So yeah, if you're interested, if you enjoyed the cast, give us a shot. Tune in on Friday.
We'll end with that. I guess we're going to be seeing you on Friday.
Yeah, and with that, Yaku, where can people find more of you? And do you have anything else you want to add?
Twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1, Twitter.com @Empora Yakuzaku. I actually downloaded Darkest Dungeon this time, so I've been looking to stream on Thursday, doing a little bit of StarCraft 2 and a little bit of Darkest Dungeon. So I will see you then. Oh yeah, !Discord. Bring you to the CranKy Ducklings Discord server, where I'm there, Light is there, all of the Ducklings are there. Buy my shirts. Where can we find you, Light?
Light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. You can follow me there. I typically stream throughout the week. A lot of behind the scenes streams, so if you're interested in like scheduling, promotion, social media, thumbnails, graphics for the CranKy Ducklings, then I usually stream that, just stream working on that sort of stuff. So if you're interested, do tune into that. Otherwise, I just ladder afterwards if you want to tune into that. But yeah, as Yaku said, more importantly, check us out on Discord. We're all there. That's where we post about all of our casts, all of our broadcasts, as well as tournament sign-up links, as well as the rest of our community. So yeah, join, be a part of that.
And with that, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're going to be rating Vivid, so do support.
Aha!
Yeah,
spend
he actually
channel points. Make him dab or wear a duck.
Make him wear a duck. That's the most important part.
We'll see you on Vivid stream.